President Trump's finger would not be near a nuclear button. It's a briefcase. It's always within steps of the president. It's the only briefcase in the world with a nickname, the football. The football is always carried by a military aide. 5 of them share this 24-hour duty, 1 from each branch of the U.S. Armed Forces. The briefcase is heavy, 45 pounds. Inside is a very simple manual for starting the most complex process that any one human being could ever do: conduct nuclear war. The decision to do that belongs to the one person who can open that briefcase, the President of the United States. The briefcase, the football, is not enough to start a nuclear attack. The President also needs the biscuit. That's a nickname too. The biscuit is a card with verification codes for launching nuclear weapons. When Ronald Reagan was shot and the medical staff at George Washington University Hospital cut off his clothes, the biscuit fell out of one of his pockets. It was immediately grabbed by the FBI. The president is always supposed to have the biscuit. It's always in his pocket. In May, when President Obama visited Hiroshima, one of the 2 places on Earth to be hit with a nuclear weapon, both of them delivered by the United States, the president had in one of his pockets the biscuit, the codes for launching the world's 3rd nuclear attack. On our next inauguration day, the football will follow President Obama from the White House to the Capitol, and the football will then follow the new president back to the White House. And the new president will then have the biscuit. If that new president is named Trump, America, and no doubt the world, will worry about nuclear war in a way it has never worried before. The new worry will not be Russia or China's nuclear capability. People already worry about that. The new worry would be President Trump's nuclear capability. It would be the first time the United States of America wouldn't trust its own president with the biscuit and the football. A new Fox News poll tonight shows that the vast majority of Americans do not trust Donald Trump to make decisions about using nuclear weapons. There is only one use of nuclear weapons that has been seriously contemplated and rehearsed by the American military, and that is the defensive use of nuclear weapons in the event of a nuclear attack from the Soviet Union, now Russia, or China. In that scenario of defensive use of nuclear weapons against a nuclear attack that has been launched against us, the president will have a maximum decision-making time, maximum, of 6 minutes. Those 6 minutes could be cut in half or less if the attack actually comes from a Russian submarine in the Atlantic west of Bermuda, where Russian submarines frequently patrol. Think about Donald Trump in those 6 minutes, or in those 3 minutes. In 1979, National Security Advisor Zbigniew Brzezinski received the proverbial 3 a.m. call in the middle of the night telling him the United States appeared to be under nuclear attack from the Soviet Union. That's what the early warning monitors in the bunker in Colorado showed. Before he could tell the president, Brzezinski got a second call confirming now an all-out attack from the Soviet Union. And just as Brzezinski was about to wake President Carter so that the president would have those full 6 minutes to decide what to do, Brzezinski got a third call telling him it was a false alarm. Imagine President Trump's national security advisor in those minutes, in the middle of the night. The national security advisor is not confirmed by the Senate. It can be anyone Donald Trump chooses. Imagine Team Trump in the middle of the night, facing what could turn out to be a false alarm or could turn out to be nuclear war. For the first time in history, Americans, including the Americans serving in the missile launching sites, who would have to insert their launch keys and turn them, sending millions of people to their deaths, would have to worry about the possibility of a president of the United States ordering a nuclear attack without any nuclear provocation at all. Unlike presidents, soldiers in those missile silos are tested for their sanity. And in that military test, sanity is defined as the ability to unflinchingly follow the coded order to launch nuclear weapons without hesitation and without question. What would happen to their sanity under President Trump? How many of them in those silos would be among the vast majority of Americans who would not trust Donald Trump to make decisions about using nuclear weapons? The more you think about what's separating us and what has separated us from nuclear war, the more you don't want to think about it. 24 hours a day. The only thing separating us from nuclear war, the football, the biscuit, and ultimately the president's brain. After the Nixon presidency, reports emerged indicating we had survived the most dangerous president of the nuclear age. In the last year of the Nixon presidency, as Congress was moving closer and closer to impeachment, the president was frequently drunk, late at night, sometimes crying, with Secretary of State Henry Kissinger. At a small dinner party, he reportedly said, "I could leave this room and in 25 minutes, 70 million people would be dead." Nixon's Secretary of Defense in those days, James Schlesinger, told all military commanders to immediately alert him if they received any strange communication or orders from the president. We were lucky. The world was lucky. We survived a drunken, mournful, self-pitying president on the verge of impeachment, wandering the White House late at night with the football, always just steps away, and the biscuit in his pocket. It might take all the luck we have left as a country to survive a Trump presidency.
Several months ago, a foreign policy expert on the international level went to advise Donald Trump, and 3 times he asked about the use of nuclear weapons. 3 times he asked, at one point, if we have them, why can't we use them?
Well, at least Donald Trump doesn't drink.